Welcome to Crystal's Bread. Today we're going to learn how to make sourdough sandwich bread. Before making this bread, make sure feed your starter at least 8 to 12 hours night before. This bread takes a little longer than typical sourdough bread, so I would recommend start early in the morning. We're gonna mix all the dry ingredients, flour, cane sugar, and salt, and add milk and water. So we're gonna mix it until the dry ingredients incorporates with the wet ingredients. Nothing more than that. So it's somewhat similar to autolysing, but pure autolyse is mixing the flour with water. And then we're gonna let it sit until the flour is hydrated. Then we're gonna add a starter in this mixture. Keep in mind that if your starter is somewhat runnier, thinner than my starter, and then dough becomes a little thicker, then if you want a softer dough, you can add 1 tablespoon water at a time. On the other side, if your starter is thicker and starter is thinner and dough is becoming too sticky, then you can add 1 tablespoon flour at a time and come up the consistency you want to. Mix the starter with the flour mixture really well until it incorporates as well. And then we're going to add butter, softened butter. It doesn't really make changes if you add melted butter in the beginning of this process or softened butter. I'm just showing you there is this technique. You can add softened butter, but you can add melted butter as well. So we're going to incorporate this butter into the mixture really well, and we're going to use rest and stretch and fold technique. We're gonna let it rest 30 minutes, and then we're gonna stretch. When you're stretching, make sure stretch it until dough allows you to stretch, not beyond that, because if you stretch it too much, then you can start breaking the gluten, because during the somewhat autolyzed process, the gluten is nicely hydrated and it's extensible, which is another good quality for the sourdough bread. The extensibility of the gluten will help to trap the air, and it will be nice airy bread. We're doing a window pane test at the end of the third stretch and fold. If this is too much, then you can skip one of them and try make it and see if there's any difference. Now we're gonna let the dough bulk rise in 2 to 3 hours depending on your room temperature. And then once it's risen, then we're gonna shape it. So we're gonna do pre-shape, which helps the gluten strengthen the gluten. That way the bread will rise upward. We're gonna make 2 rectangle sandwich bread, 9 by 5 bread pan. Pre-shaping into round shape, like a ball shape. Whichever you do this, it is completely fine. There's another way, and then here's another different way, like a folding like an envelope, and come up with the ball shape. That's perfectly fine, whichever you make this one. And then we're gonna let it rest 20-30 minutes on room temperature. And once it's nicely rested, then we're gonna shape into a log roll and put it in our pan, pre-oiled pan. We're gonna let it rise in the pan about 4 to 5 hours, depending on your room temperature. And nicely tuck it in and tuck it in, and it is very nice dough to work it. It's easy to work, it doesn't stick, yet it's still nice and soft, buttery feeling. Okay, we're gonna put it in a plastic bag or cover with a kitchen towel, and let it rise. Once it's about 50 to 75% risen, then we're gonna score the bread and make sure heat the oven 45 to 60 minutes prior to putting your bread in the oven. This was challenging to score because dough was now rested and become more softer, and because maybe it's butter. Due to the butter, it was sticking to my scoring knife, so I was dipping my knife in flour, and which helped. All kinds of egg mix wash would work with this one. Egg yolk wash, egg yolk with water or butter, or just simple egg. Anything will work. If you don't have egg, just you can use butter. We're gonna put it in a 425 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. If it's browning too quickly, you can cover it with tin foil, and then lower temperature to 375 and bake it 15 to 20 more minutes. If you have a probe thermometer, then you can check the inner temperature. If it reaches to 10, that's good to go. Look at this beautiful light brown color. Smells so good. This bread is go-to sandwich bread for sure. Look at that, nicely shaped, perfect sandwich bread, and very healthy sandwich bread. So it took me all day, so I let it cool down overnight. I'm slicing in the morning. The crust is soft, knife goes through easily, and crumb is so soft. There's nice air distribution, and then soft, beautiful sandwich bread. Now you know how to make sourdough sandwich bread. Good for breakfast, toast, grilled cheese, all kinds of sandwiches, because it has cane sugar, butter, and milk. It lessens the sour taste that my kids complain. So it's one of the bread that my kids love making sandwiches now. Now you know how to make this bread. Enjoy it!